Hi everyone, thank you for coming along to today's webinar. My name's Karen McFadden and I'm the founder of Money Insights. Now, we are a network that is dedicated to helping business owners in the UK find really easy ways to just maximise their money. Now, what we do is we demystify the worlds around investments, funding, grants, tax initiatives, ultimately ways to put money in your business. If we can help you source them, then that's what we're all about. And we really like to play matchmaker here at Money Insights. So not only do we go out there and source these financial wins, we also match you up with the experts that can help you get the very best out of them, which is exactly what we're doing today with Martin. So Martin Macleod from Financial Health Club, he is a member and partner with Money Insights, and he's going to tell us, he's going to talk to us all about demystifying the stock market and things that we need to know from the beginning to just build a bit more confidence with that space. So Martin, do you want to jump on and introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Martin Macleod, founder of Financial Health Club, which I started 2.5 years ago after leaving the financial industry where I'd worked for years and as a stockbroker and right through to being like a chartered financial planner. Having like a background in finance, I felt like there was this huge gap when you spoke and just this huge gap that needed to be essentially looked at between people who perhaps wanted to start investing and wanted to be confident with money, but just didn't know where to start. And I felt like the financial industry is obviously geared more towards those who are already wealthy or those with assets. And I felt like that was really in helping to educate people, help them start regardless of their wealth. So giving like the benefit of your knowledge to people, no matter what stage of the journey they're at, and help them build their personal finances and build their personal wealth and help them do it. In a way that they can then teach their kids as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's what kind of sparked my interest the most with yourself, because as much as Money Insights focuses on the business finance side of things, you're obviously in the personal investment world. But I actually think they go very hand in hand because obviously the better you do in your personal life, you might not need to you might not need to, lean on your company as much or take as much out of it. You have more freedom with the business and what you can do with it. And certainly you can personally invest in your business, if you have the money there instead of going to VCs, for example.
Yeah.
So, I think they do go hand in hand. But from a personal perspective, I think I told you the first time we met, I downloaded Free Trade, I think it's called, and I put money into Tesla because everyone was telling me to do it. It was pure peer pressure. There was no sense behind it. There was no understanding of what I was doing. It was purely, I had a bit of money spare. People were telling me to go on and invest in Tesla and sending me all these stats and figures and stock market graphs. And I still to this day, don't know how it's doing or if it's up. I mean, it's up, it seems, but it was completely being kind of goaded into it. So, do you find that that's the average attitude that a lot of people have towards this stuff?
Yeah, and I think that's why the stock market gets such like a bad press. A lot of people do just naturally they listen to friends, they listen to somebody in the pub, and then they go and act on it quite quickly without ever taking the time to stop and think, well, maybe I should learn a bit about this first. Maybe I should understand like what risks are involved, or maybe I should understand a bit more about how this all works. And I think if more people took the time out to do that at the start, they would then be much more successful with the stock market, and the stock market wouldn't get this bad press. So I think it's like I always use the analogy I'm a bit like a driving instructor. You're not going to need me forever, but I'm going to help you understand what all the buttons in the car mean, like what the risks of the road are, like so you can read all the road signs because they don't change very often. It's just that most people just jump in the car and start driving, and obviously they end up putting all their money in one stock. And then naturally it may fall, potentially go bust, and then they find that the stock market for them doesn't work. They walk away, never use it again, not realizing that they've missed a fantastic opportunity to build their wealth. Because the stock market is the greatest wealth creation machine in history. It's just that it's often used the wrong way because, as I say, people will gladly research a fridge that they buy for hours, go to shops, ask lots of questions, like especially when they're buying like televisions, etc. They'll do exactly the same, but they just will listen to somebody that's a friend who's made some money in a random coin that they heard of last week, and they'll quite happily shove £1,000 in it, a couple of thousand in it, or they'll quite happily buy a share with no knowledge whether it's making money or losing money. And I think that's like how everybody starts. When I first started, I did exactly that. I made stupid mistakes. And 20 years ago, I would buy like oil companies or gold companies that like were that had no like product to sell. They had not found any oil. So it's natural that these companies that make no money and have like huge debts, it's natural that they're going to be really poor shares or that they're going to go bust. But when you actually know what you're looking for and you can filter it down, I always use the analogy of like looking at a holiday. When you go to look at a holiday, if you didn't have a clue what to look at, you would genuinely would be lost. But if using a filter system, if you go into booking.com, you can filter it. I want a 5-star review. I want like a swimming pool. I want it to be close to the beach. That is all you're doing really with the stock market. You're actually enabling yourself to see profitable, good companies and understanding a bit more about it. And obviously, it's been made so much easier now for anybody beginning because got funds and index funds do a lot of it for you, just like packaging ready meals, really.
And so that's an interesting point, kind of highlighting the filter system and if you were new to this, it would be very daunting. Kind of clients then come to you, or is it a complete range from knowing nothing about this to having dabbled for a few years?
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest surprise because obviously coming from the financial advice world, you're kind of thinking, well, I've maybe left that market behind, but that's actually not the case. It's like, believe it or not, there's actually some very wealthy clients now come to me because what they're about to do, for example, is maybe invest money. They're maybe about to invest £1 million for the first time ever, or maybe about to invest using a wealth manager for the first time ever. But what they don't want to do is be taken advantage of. They don't understand this world at all. So I'm working with a few clients who just want help mystify, like, how does this work? How is a fund constructed? What does this mean? What is the kind of average rate of return you expect from X, Y, Z? Like, what should I be paying per year for this? Like what would be a good level of return that I can expect with this risk profile? All these kind of things, right down to people who are just starting out, who are wanting to be complete beginners, who want to understand the stock market, want to understand how to start, how to pick a platform, how to do it tax efficiently. There's a massive, massive range of clients, and some come to me because they want to actually understand how to pick stocks using like the systems that I would use myself, like actually looking underneath the bonnet of stocks and actually seeing, does the company make money? Does it have good returns on its capital? Is it debt free, which makes it less likely to go bust? So lots of people want to work on it, using the kind of research systems I would use to identify good, powerful stuff to make you money over time, as opposed to just little like drive blindfolded. Just people trying to
Yeah.
pick a
So,
stock because you recognise the name, not realising that lots of famous companies
uh-huh.
do go bust.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously what you're saying there makes sense. And these clients want insight to your world and, the peaks, the
Yeah,
troughs, the things to be aware of. Time wise, that's what every person, every business owner has a lack of time. So
yeah.
what's involved from that perspective where they might think, okay, what you're saying, Martin, sounds great, but I just don't have time to look into this stuff. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, usually I would work with clients probably about 3 hours, like an hourly meeting, maybe three times a month, and we do it for like 3 months. Some of them obviously want a bit deeper knowledge and we still be working together 6 months later, but that gives them a good grounding. And what I combine is like the best of the both worlds of my financial advice career and my stockbroking career. So we will go through your personal situation. We'll talk about like what you value, what's important to you, because we all have like completely different desires in life. Like one person might just want to get a certain level of money. One person might just have a dream, easily attainable within 2 or 3 years. It's completely unique to each individual. So we talk a lot about what it is you're trying to achieve, what it is that you value for you and your family. And then I'll use things like cash flow models that I used to use as a financial advisor just to help build a nice picture and charts of where they are now and where they could be if they did Y, Z. If they put £100 a month into an ISA or £200 a month into a pension. What we're doing is just showing them the future, but then educating them. And okay, if you are a beginner investor, you don't have a lot to invest each month, you're not going to get help in the financial industry, but you can do this yourself. Here are the options you've got available to you. Here are some of the likely returns for various risk profiles. I can take them through attitude to risk models and things like that because obviously I was trained to use these tools as a financial advisor. And I can help show them the different types of investment that they have available, the different tax wrappers they could use. And it's just them being, they find it very comfortable because I think naturally when you're in the financial industry, people tend to not be honest with you. They don't really want to tell you what's in their bank account. They don't want to tell you that they've got like 50 grand or 20 grand sitting in a cash account because they think you're going to try and sell them something. But people are much more open with me. They'll say, Martin, I've got 50 grand in the bank. It's doing nothing. Or like, like what are the options I've got for this money, and what are the likely returns I could have if I took a low risk or a high risk option, or and it's explaining to them, showing them the ability they have to do these things themselves, um, and that enables them to feel more trust, obviously, because they know that you do not benefit whether they've got 10,000 or 10 million. You're just getting paid for your time. So, and
Yeah.
you're not getting paid on a percentage of their wealth or to sell them into products. So, and that was always my issue with the financial industry. As personally, was just like everybody was always seeking these like what they call whales or big clients. They want to hit like clients with 2, 5, 10 million. Whereas my opinion was like, well, everybody's equal. Somebody with 20,000 is just as important as somebody with 2 million. And maybe that person with 20,000 might be inventing a new Facebook. So how do you know? So I mean, I always thought as everybody is equal. But the problem is the constraints of the financial industry and the fees they've got to pay means that they can't help people go down the ladder, and they can't necessarily always do what's best. So my life now is helping anyone regardless of that. I find it much more rewarding because you can just be honest all the time.
Yeah, you're almost like a big brother to, folk
Like,
that the average Joe that, needs some help in this, but perhaps might be a bit intimidated to go to the big boys or, work with an investor per se, an investor manager. Um,
yeah,
so yeah.
and for many, it'll be a stepping stone. So many people do leave me and then go and work with a wealth manager or a financial advisor. But now they're in a
Mhm.
much more powerful position. Now they're not sitting in a room thinking, I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Now they're sitting in a room and they can negotiate. Now they're sitting in a room and they understand what a good return is or a bad return is. Now they sit in a room, understand that, wait, I'm not paying 3% fees to you every year. Like I would never pay a joiner 3% of the value of my house every single year as it goes up because that would be crazy. But people get number numbness when it comes to investments and pensions. No, they're only taking 3% of my pension. Is that right? That's a lot of money. Let's talk about that. So it's sitting down and having somebody um, to basically ask a lot of questions or make sure there's no gaps in your finances, that you've got insurance, you've not got any inheritance tax problems coming your way. Just talking through some of the things that may not be aware of. And then, yeah, they may well go and get financial advice, or they may well go with a wealth manager, as many of my clients have. But
So you're a good
a much
stepping stone almost to that. Yeah.
at times, but for most people, like 92% of the UK doesn't have a financial advisor or wealth manager. Probably that should be there because most people probably don't need one. You probably need one when you're wealthy, but most people starting out do not need one to put 20 grand a year in an ISA. They don't need, with a couple, they might have 40 grand to put in an ISA. They probably don't need a financial advisor to do that for them. They can easily build their wealth themselves, and that's what I help them do. I just help them get the knowledge to understand roughly this is not rocket science. It's not stuff that it used to be, and there was a barrier to entry, but nowadays we're able to get apps, we're able to open accounts in 15 minutes. There's not a necessity to put 5 or 10,000 in to open an account like there was years ago. you don't have to phone somebody in London to place a deal on a share. So it's much more open for everybody to start investing, regardless of age.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk a wee bit about, excuse me, your success stories. So maybe give me an idea, because I'm an average Joe or Joe West, and I've got my business and I've got my family life and I've got a wee bit of money. Give me an example of someone like me you've helped, and then go up the scale to someone perhaps a wee bit more wealthier.
Yeah, well, I've helped, obviously. I run beginners investing courses, so I've helped lots of people get started who are now obviously making like high returns years later, or people that are now making much more of their money than they were in savings accounts. And there's lots of individual clients who, will message me saying that's my, ISA up 35% since we started working together, a few years back. And these are brilliant things to hear because obviously these clients literally had money sitting in cash accounts or never thought they had the intelligence or the ability to start investing. And we're talking about some people that are in their 30s, 40s thinking that, oh, this is not for me. I can't invest money. I don't have enough knowledge to invest money. That's for the rich. That's for people with a higher intelligence level. It's not the case at all. It's just that they've taken the time out to work with me. They've got a plan for their life. They understand it now. They know what they need to do, consistent actions each month, right through to, as I say, I'm working with some television presenters who have managed to kind of change their life and retire early because they now realise that with the money that they've got and various pensions and investments, that they could easily take the money that they wish to take and go and like just retire to Cornwall and open a coffee shop. So I guess it's like there's a whole range of success stories that are out with that. Some of the biggest success stories I've had personally are when I'm working with clients. Quite a few of them have said, would you mind if my 18-year-old sits in this? Would you mind if my 15-year-old sits in this because they're really interested? That's to me is the biggest success because that's the one thing I wish I could do is as I had a time machine and go back and speak to myself at 15 and say, you need to understand this stuff. If you understand this stuff, it doesn't matter what you earn because everybody's focused on earnings and income. But believe me, the richest people in the world are not the people that earn the highest incomes. They're not the people that work the hardest and chase the income. They're people that understood investing incredibly powerful. It's the younger you do it, the compounding effect is transformational for the average people in it. And I think knowing that is so powerful, and that's why it's brilliant. The biggest transformation, the biggest thrill I get is in understanding that and having a 21-year-old come on my beginners investing course who I know will be able to transform their life by just putting a couple £100 a month away. Because that, when you scale it up and you work over the next 20 years, can be life changing, like life changing money built up in a tax free manner.
Yeah.
Really
Do you know
amazing.
that's a really intriguing point, and I wholeheartedly agree. And I mentioned this to you before, Martin. I'd read the Robert Kiyosaki Rich Dad Poor Dad book,
Yeah,
and ultimately he's a big advocate for improving your financial IQ. So learning this stuff, it's all about building up your assets and having low
yeah,
outgoings. And I thought to myself, he had that privilege of learning that world from the age of, I think it was 7. So from that age upwards, he was just in that world 100%. Myself personally, I only got into the self-employed world about 5 years ago,
yeah,
and I'm 35 now. But I had no clue about this stuff, and it's amazing, just like you say, putting by 100, £200 a month, what that can do for your future. It's incredible really to know that that's very feasible. It's very manageable, and you actually can learn to speak the language and have the confidence that you need to just take those steps and be in control of them.
yeah.
What might be interesting for our viewers and anyone kind of watching this webinar afterwards would be maybe talk us through what your course does. So, give us an idea of an ideal customer coming to you and then what they would learn through the course.
I would say that the range of ages in the course is obviously 21 straight up right up to 50-year-olds in the course. So I guess it's helping people first of all understand the financial numbers that you need to know because like naturally, we're not taught any of this stuff at school. So there's some key kind of financial numbers that are good to track throughout life and will help you. Really simple. I think like it was a bunch of famous fund managers in America who was very successful said that basically everything you need to know to be good with money, you learn in the fourth grade. And it's the same with the stock market. Is essentially all the numbers we need to know are really simple numbers. They're all calculated very easily by multiplication or division. We're not dealing with like trigonometry or Pythagoras. It's very simple stuff. And then understanding the stock market, understanding like investing versus saving, understanding how investments are, and then looking at the stock market as a whole, and a lot in the behavioural finance side of things, so that people can get an idea of what the past looked like and understand that the market will correct, the market will fall. It will always go up over time. It will always go up, but it will never do what you want it to do when you want it to do it. So people will come to me and say, "Should I invest 10,000 in the stock market? I'm going to be buying a house in 2 years." Absolutely not. Because you've got no understanding of like what the market can do during that time. It can easily fall 30% tomorrow, if there's a COVID situation or there's a massive war breaks out. So it's understanding that over the long period, yes, and also understanding that what percentage you can take is a risk for you, because you need to build up emergency funds. You make sure that you're financially secure. For a lot of business owners, for example, that might be make sure that their personal finances are, they might have 3 to 6 months of emergency expenses there sitting in a ready accessible cash account, high interest savings account. They will then have, after that, money they could possibly afford to lose, money they could then, it can grow for years before they need it. And that is essentially what you're looking for with the market. So in my course, I'm taking people through from understanding the market, understanding investing, understanding the difference between funds, index funds, shares, moving through to picking like the tax wrappers, as you call them, that are available, your ISAs, your SIPs, your pensions, understanding what is available to you, then understanding what platforms are the biggest platforms, what are the most recognizable, what are the most trustworthy, looking at a range of those different platforms and just understanding, like, for example, if you're going to buy a share, either the buy and sell price and what the spread is and what it means, just because a lot of the things that I take for granted, big problems to clients who say, right, okay, I'm on the app now or I'm on the screen now, but I don't understand this, this, and this. And that ability to ask these questions during the course, to be able to somebody jump on a call and help you understand some of the information that's on the screen in front of you. It just helps gain that confidence and understand that this stuff is usually very simplistic in terms of, and also there's lots of great companies out there that are more help you start investing, because that everybody wants to see more is people investing their own money.
Oh, sorry, Martin, just to interrupt you there. You sort of cut out there for a couple of seconds. Just repeat maybe the last sentence or so.
Yeah. Sorry. So it's just, I think it's it's important that people understand the powerful effects of investing their own money, and I
Yeah.
think more and more people investing, more and more people. By nature, the generations that came before, they had salary pensions. They worked. They got big pensions at the end of it. The companies looked after them. They had gold-plated pensions. This generation, you're going to have to look after yourself. You're going to have to invest your own money. You're going to have to build your own freedom, and you're going to have to do it yourself. But there is lots of good ways that we've got that the previous generations didn't have. We have got data on our fingertips. I've got data and research systems that I use to buy stocks that I wouldn't have had 20 years ago as a stockbroker. This is unbelievable information we've got at our fingertips for very cheap amounts per month. We've got exactly the same when it comes to investing in apps. We've got really, really cheap ways to invest that seemed like would have been impossible 20 years ago, never mind 100 years ago. So we are privileged in a situation where it's easy to invest, £10 a month, £100 a month. There is no barriers for most platforms now to start investing, and it's much easier than it's ever been for people to get involved and just get a bit of help before you start investing. Just get somebody on your side to ask all the questions. Then you're not like lots of people come to me because they go down the kind of like the YouTube hole of like trying to consume so much information. But the problem is it's just all conflicting information. And if you don't have that basic fundamental knowledge to understand what's going on, it doesn't matter. It's like, it's always like I can watch a YouTube video on somebody building a house. The problem is I can't even build a piece of furniture from IKEA, never mind the house. I don't have the tools to build the house and I don't understand. So I would need somebody to sit down and ask questions on before I could ever just build the house. So it's kind of like I am that bridge that helps them understand, okay, they do want to invest, they made that decision to work on the course. Now they need a bit of help to get to that next level.
Yeah, and that's a really good, point to sort of finish on because essentially you're not the person that's saying, I'm going to advise that you put your money here. That's not what
Correct.
you're doing. You're
No.
essentially there to be a soundboard, to be a comforter,
Yeah.
really, to educate your clients.
And that's why I use the analogy of a driving instructor because once you've passed your test, you're fit to drive. You understand the rules of the road. You understand the risks. You understand what every button in the car means. You're comfortable that if you drive at a safe speed limit, you know where you're going. But you don't want me to pick your car for you. You don't want me to say drive an Audi. It has to be red. You don't need that because you can choose that now because you have the information that you need, and now it's your decision what you do, and it's your decision how fast you drive or how slow you drive after you pass your test. But that's the difference between the levels of risk, clearly. But you now are in a position where you can drive safely forever. You'll get more confident. The more you drive, the more confident you get. The more you invest, the more your money's in the market, the more you'll become comfortable with investing, understand the terminology better. But you've got a good grounding in it, and you're happy to invest forever.
Superb. Well, I'm invested in the course. I'm already signed up for it. I can't wait to learn more personally. Can you just share a wee bit more about the upcoming one that you're running, costs around it, how many
Yeah,
spaces are left? Because I know that I was close to the end there.
yeah. So the next course begins on the 27th, which is 2 weeks today, and it's £399 for the 6 weeks. So it's 1 hour per week on a Thursday at 30, and during that there'll be time to ask questions after each week. And in between that, I'm more than happy to obviously take emails or everybody who has a concern or has a question about the course. And yeah, so there's still spots available. So absolutely get in touch. I will send through the link to anybody that wants to.
Perfect. Well, I'll be sharing that anyways with the Money Insights members. And just obviously want to say a huge thank you, Martin, for all of that insight. Now, I've mentioned Money Insights a couple of times on the call, and I explained at the beginning as well what we're all about. We're going out there, finding these financial wins for you and bringing them right to your door, and then connecting you to the experts that can help you get the most out of them. At the moment, we are running an early adopters trial. It is £10 a month, and it's really because this business is a startup. So I'm wanting to test the validity. The member feedback so far has been fantastic. The introductions so far have been incredible. This is a really low investment, high reward opportunity here available to you. So I do welcome you to join if you found today interesting. Martin is just one example of a huge host of financial experts that we are connected to. So I hope to see you part of the platform soon. And of course, you can reach out to myself directly for more questions as well. So, Martin, is there anything else you want to finish with? Maybe a pearl of wisdom at the end?
I think the best bit of wisdom is to start investing today. I think lots of people put it off, thinking I'll do that a couple of years from now. Each year that you stop yourself investing will take tens of thousands off year of your future.
Yeah, superb. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I will share your course out afterwards with this recording. And everyone, please, I'll include Martin's contact details on that insight also. And please do connect with us both on LinkedIn. Happy to help you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.